More information has been released in the Ruby Frank and Jodi Hildebrandt arrest after both of them appeared in court this week. Ruby appeared twice in court, as Thursday she had a custody hearing to determine where her and Kevin's 4 children who were under her care should reside. Daily Mail reported that Ruby was extremely emotional at the hearing and broke down several times while accusing her young children of horrible things. She made several claims against 2 of her young children, accusing them of having harmed each other and others, and claimed they should not be around other children. This is along the same lines of what Jodi had said at the time of her arrest, when she told police that the children should never be allowed around any other kids. She claimed one of her children had harmed their siblings, family members, and neighbors over the years, and she claimed this child had confessed to this behavior. The allegations she made against her children seem to be some excuse for her behavior and why 2 of her children were with Jodi in her home, but that's no excuse for the condition that they were in, that's for sure. The whole thing is just sick, and the things that she is claiming is sounding a lot like the things that were said about Josh Duggar, and it seems she's sharing this information as to still try and keep her children separated. What I don't think Ruby realizes is, one, how effed up the whole situation is, how effed up that they were with Jodi in the condition that they were in, that she looks really bad sharing this, in that in the end, it's not her children that are going to be viewed as the problem, it is going to be her and her parenting styles and choices. She also made claims that one of her children had been viewing inappropriate content since the age of 3, which I will say I'm just confused by, because the thing about Ruby is that she has vlogged a lot of her kids' lives, and she did it for years. And she bragged about how she monitors them very closely and they don't really have access to electronics. So for her to say that her child had access to this type of material is confusing. And it's also unclear what kind of material she's exactly talking about, like what form, or honestly what even she's talking about, because Ruby is quite dramatic when talking about inappropriate content. And an example of a time that she's done this was something that literally was talked about for a while on YouTube, because Ruby would not stop talking about it. About a year ago, Ruby had posted a video onto her YouTube channel where she talked about how she found out that one of her daughter's classes were going to be doing a flash mob dance, and they were going to be doing it to a song that she felt was inappropriate, and then she felt that the dance was also inappropriate. And she used a specific word when talking about the song and dance. She said that this content was under this certain word category, and she used this same word to describe in court on Thursday the kind of content her child had been viewing at the age of 3. And given that she called a TikTok dance and a Flow Rida song as this particular word, it could be anything that she thought that her child at the age of 3 was viewing that was this word type of content. And even if she's blaming that content on making them the way that they are, it's just confusing how they would even have access to it, since she was literally in her car crying, talking about the school is exposing her children to this type of content because of a song and a dance. So for this to be occurring in her home, it's like, what do you have at home? Like, what was going on there? And it couldn't be something that was on a phone or some sort of technological device, because I mean, we're talking about a 3-year-old one, and then on top of that, they don't really have devices in their home. But as a result of what she claimed about one child, Daily Mail reported that the judge said this one will be placed in a home with no other children. Kevin was also in attendance at the court hearing, not making a comment. And the next hearing is set for September 15. It's a mediation hearing, and then September 18th is a pretrial hearing. Now, as for Jodi and Ruby, both of them appeared in court on Friday, and this was in regards to their arrest, not custody of the children. The hearing was held in a virtual courtroom and actually was delayed more than half an hour as some of the public gained access to the hearing and joined the Zoom call, as there's a lot of eyes on this story. A lot of people wanted to be in this Zoom call to see Jodi and Ruby and hear what was about to be said. The virtual courtroom actually became overloaded, and some people in it were not taking the situation seriously, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is a very serious situation, and for people to join in on this Zoom call to act a fool and cause delays is just not the way. You can dislike Ruby and Jodi and want to see their downfall, you want to see them in court, but causing problems in a serious situation is just disruptive to everyone trying to move this along. And there's real people involved here, there's children involved here, there's a lot of people affected in this. This is not a joke, and it shouldn't be treated as such. But Jodi and Ruby separately were seen at the hearing. I've seen some news outlets post some photos of them at the virtual hearing. I know they said no streaming or recording of the hearing was allowed, but 2KUTV released an article detailing what went on inside the courtroom and released these images of the two of them during that hearing. The judge ordered that Ruby will be held without bail, and her next hearing is set for September 21st. Jodi followed Ruby and was also ordered to be held without bail until her next hearing, which is also September 21st. Prior to Jodi and Ruby being seen in court, there was also a 911 call that was made public this week. This call was from the neighbor who Ruby's son had gone to seeking help after escaping Jodi's home. And listening to this is just heartbreaking. You hear the neighbor on the phone getting emotional, just seeing the condition that this child is in and trying to just keep it together to properly describe the situation, and also probably to not freak out the child that is in front of him as he's trying to have this call and to get someone there very quickly. Also, it seems like they're very scared of Jodi coming to try and collect this child. And so he is telling them, this is a very serious matter. You need to get here immediately. And to hear him choke up describing it, it's heartbreaking to know that these two are sitting in court trying to paint these kids as bad when they're the bad ones. We can hear someone trying to describe what they did to one of the kids. And it's just sick that Ruby can stand in court and say the things that she's saying about her kids, thinking people are gonna be like, oh, like, be for real. What does anything she's describing have anything to do with why she couldn't feed them or care for them or stop any harm coming their way from her or Jodi? It's not like they separated the children and then took care of them, because that's not what happened here. If there was a problem and you separated the children and you took care of them, that's a different story. The sick part is that I do believe that in Ruby's mind and in Jodi's mind, they think that this was like the best. Like, I just really think that they are so brainwashed in the things that they believe, in this truth that they live in, that they believe that they were doing the best thing. And that's the sickest part, that they are not well. If that is what they're thinking, they are not well. And I think that is how they were thinking because of the things that they've said in previous videos, especially Ruby. We've seen her use food as a lesson once before, and she clearly thinks that that lesson was to teach her daughter something that was going to make her better, to make her more mature, make her lunches and things like that. We've seen them use this type of punishment type of thing before, obviously not to this degree that the children were found, but we knew that Ruby had strict views, and the advice that Jodi would give parents on connections was strict as well. And I don't know how they could think in their minds that this is okay or justified in any way. It makes me sick, but I do think that in their minds, that's what they thought. And that's exactly why they should be locked up. There's no reason to not be feeding your child, to not be taking care of your child. That is your child. And even though that's not Jodi's child, you should never do that to a child, ever, 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 ever. And it's sicker that it's coming from someone who is giving parenting advice to people. There's something so sinister about that, and the fact that people looked up to these two at one point. And in this whole thing, I still want to know what Kevin knows. Because what do you mean Kevin is trying to get custody? He wants all the kids to be together. That was the last time he ever made a statement through his lawyer, was saying that he wants all the kids to be together, seemingly under his care. I want to know how much he knew about the kids that were with Jodi, if he even knew they were at Jodi's, if he knew about the situations that Ruby was describing in court on Thursday. It's all just so concerning. And Ruby is under the impression that these children need to be separated, yet Kevin is talking about they need to be all together. So there are two very different ideas of what should be happening coming from both of the parents. And the more information that comes out, like the more concerning everything is. I will let you guys know if anything further comes out, but as of right now, that is all. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.